So let's talk about the meta build currently in PvP at the moment for the engineer, and this is what I'm running my version of it as well. It's just really the same build. Sigils are always a thing that people like to change around, as well as, you know, rune and to a degree, but the amulet is mainly Marauder. At the moment, you know, durability is quite good as well because of the toughness and boon duration, obviously, as well, because we are able to get boons through this build. If we get something like resistance, you know, with conditions and such, that's very good to try and keep the extra boon duration for that, of course, as well. So, extra vitality, meh, you know, that helps. Toughness is always good as well, of course, for your defense. But as it goes, we are using the hammer and we're using the Sigil of Air, of course, so a 50% chance on critical to cause a lightning strike to get some extra damage. Really, really important as well because, you know, we need some extra damage because we are playing in quite a bunker condition orientated meta at the moment, but in future that will change. But I'm not sure if this build will change specifically because it's good for many reasons. As you can see, we've got the hammer. We've got the healing turret, that's never going to change as far as I know, and elixir gun, slick shoes, elixir bee, and a sneak gyro. So, let's go through quickly the specializations first, and then we can talk about the rest of the abilities. It's not going to be a very long video, it's just really to go over it and give you a little bit of a video guide on top of maybe a guide from Meta Battle or other websites as well. But we're going for inventions, alchemy, and also scrapper. Now, we're running with a Marauder's Amulet, so most of these traits here are actually giving us our survival and the way we actually are able to continue to live in PvP, because otherwise this build would be pretty tough to play, to be fair, if you didn't have a lot of these things in it. So let's have a look at the traits quickly. Let's have a look. So over in Inventions, we're going for Cleansing Synergy here, so of course you remove a damaging condition. So using healing skills triggers a cleansing pulse around you. Amazing. Number of targets, 5. Then we go to automated medical response, which is really, really good. And I've been banging on about this for years, but it's not, Inventions has never really been used that heavily in the metas before, as far as I can remember. We have had spells where, you know, we've seen Inventions being used, but this is really, really useful to have that recharge at 25% as well, especially if you've just used it and then you get bursted down again with, say, some conditions and whatnot, is extremely useful because you get your condition removal back and you get a lot of burst healing back as well. So this skill really helps with not only for healing but for your condition removal as well. So when you use a healing skill, you apply regeneration to nearby allies. That's good for team sustain, although there's already a shed load of that already. Mecha legs, really, really good because we've not got, you know, we've not got speedy kits anymore. Obviously, you know, that got reworked completely. But now we've got mecha legs in replacement kind of for our permanent movement speed, as well as also cripple, chill, and immobilize duration reduced, which is always good. You know, it's another condition reduction onto ourselves as well. So that's pretty sweet. Let's go over to energy amplifier, so your healing power is increased while you have regeneration, and we're going to have it quite a lot, so that's pretty good as well. So it's going to increase our healing, and then we have bunker down. We're not going to go for advanced turrets, and we're not going to go for medical dispersion field, because, you know, we're focusing mainly on ourselves here. So create a proximity mine and medkit at your location when you critically hit with an attack, which happens a lot because we've got a lot of precision, we've got a lot of crit as well. So the medkit helps us sustain, and the extra damage is always good as well. Obviously coming from proximity mine. So that's Inventions. Really, survival is what this line is really about. It's really about your survival, condition removal, extra really coming out with the second heal because, you know, the healing turret obviously can remove some conditions on the cleansing burst, so, you know, you're going to get some more of that. You're going to get more burst healing for yourself and your team, and you're going to be able to survive in some really tough 1v1 situations and in team fights pretty well as well. So let's go to alchemy. What's going on in the list line? So we have hidden flask. Drink elixir B when struck below the health threshold of 75%. We have elixir B as well. So we're going to be able to get some nice swiftness, fury, might, retaliation, and all the other bits and bobs that come with it, as well as also some condition removal. So people forget about this sometimes because In this build, obviously, you are able to remove conditions through the alchemy line. That is literally just through this minor trait here, the alchemical tinctures. So throwing and consuming elixirs removes conditions from those affected. Really, really good. But the thing is, this is almost like passive kind of condition removal really as well, because if you're at 75% health, you're going to drink an elixir B, and you're going to be able to get just one condition removed. You know, that's pretty good, just for something passive. So it keeps your sustain up, you know, you're able to get some swiftness, and you'll see why that's also very good as well, other than just the speed, which you're going to need as well in this build. Protection injection. Gain protection when you are disabled by stun, daze, knockdown, knockback, launch, float, sink or fear. And that's obviously a protection pretty good as well. A lot better when there's a lot more burst damage coming in, but you know, protection is protection, and protection is good in any situation. Transmute, so incoming conditions have a chance to convert into boons. That's 100% chance as well, 15-second cooldown, and obviously, you know, through our rune, we have the extended duration of boonage as well, so that's always quite good. Then we've got Elixir S, self-regulating defenses. So drinking Elixir S when you are struck while below the health threshold of 25%. Pardon me. It's obviously very good to have this as a defensive measure. If you have conditions on you while you're in Elixir S and you're hit 25% HP and you're going up against something like a Condition Revenant or a Necro, sometimes this ability can really put you into a bad situation because you can't remove them other than, you know, the fact that you've drunk an Elixir S. It's a bit horrible that way. Unfortunately, you know, you might have by then, hopefully you've got things like your sneak gyro out and you've built up a little bit of regeneration and protection while that's happening, so you've got a little bit more survivability while you're in Elixir S. I haven't had as much trouble as I used to have with this, so it's not too bad at the moment, and there's reasons for that which I'll talk about in a moment. Also, you know, toughness as well as condition damage reductions coming out for the rest of the traits. Alchemical tinctures, so throwing, consuming, you know, we talked about that, conditions removed there, 1, and that's not just the actual elixirs that are coming out through your actual, you know, Elixir B, for example. On the second ability here on the tool belt, as you can see, or wherever your elixir gun is, this is an elixir. Ta-da! Conditions removed 1. So let's go over to the elixir gun as well, and you can see that there is 1 condition removed by the super elixir there as well, so that's always going to be very good. And then we've got some other condition removal as well through this build, obviously coming out through TOS Elixir X and whatnot. Not Elixir X, Elixir B. Wow, we used that for so long, I got used to saying it, Elixir B there, of course, as well. So we've got some nice amount of condition removal coming out from this. Elixir Gun is really, really good at the moment in PvP. It's not too bad at all. You've got condition removal for the rest of your team there as well, if you're really getting pressured quite heavily. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty nice. I'm loving. I haven't used the elixir gun for a long time, other than, you know, obviously I've been playing the meta build for quite a while now. But it is a pretty nice, you know, it's got a lot to it, which we're going to talk about in a moment. Elixirs grant might and have reduced recharge and have increased duration. Yes. So we have more stability and whatnot. We have more of this. More of this awesome stuff. It's augmented through the traits, which is why they're all in blue, because most of their durations have been increased, so that's pretty awesome. Reason why that's good, of course, as well, is that we are going to be able to have more condition removal because of the actual reduction in time. So we've got there 32 seconds at the moment. If we check again, it's 40. That's 8 seconds. That's a lot of time. So what is that at the moment? 25 seconds, 20. So, you know, that's a lot of time off, you know, some more condition removal, some more stability, or the boons, or the fury, or the might, the swiftness, and everything else that comes along with it. Love this line. Alchemy is just amazing. So again, you know, this is about your survival, also building a little bit of might. It's really kind of passively, not really massively focusing on it at all, to be honest. But if you can build up your might, and you know you're not going to need abilities, you know, such as super elixir and whatnot, as well as acid bomb and whatnot, you know, it's always very, very useful to actually have that as well. So Let's go over to the final line, to Scrapper of course. We can get Function Gyro. We know what Function Gyro does, so you gain access to the Function Gyro, which can finish a foe or revive an ally for you at range. So obviously, you know, that's another chance for you to get the down. If you have a Necro or something single target wise, which is trying to get a knockback on you, if it knocks you back, your Gyro is still going to take the enemy out, which is always very nice. And you haven't got to worry too much about someone coming in for the control effects and whatnot, unless it's AoE. But, you know, generally this is pretty nice to have as an extra thing. Makes Engineer very strong as well. Recovery Matrix, so using your heal skill temporarily reduces damage you receive, which is protection. And this synergizes very, very well with this. So, you know, I spoke about this in another video earlier recently that I've done on the healing turret, which is coming out soon. But basically, you know, let me put the heal turret down as well. So you get regeneration, obviously, just normally from the healing turret and protection. So you get the amount of protection for that time. You know, you put the healing turret down, you get protection. You pick it up, you still get protection. It doesn't disappear when you put your healing turret back up, which is very, very good. So if you know you're going into a heavy damage fight and you want to use your hammer, then sometimes it's actually good to just put your heal down really early on before you get in the fight. Sometimes, you know, it's not something you actively think about, but it's just something, you know, to keep in the back of your minds. Also, then when you've got your automated medical response coming back up and you need to use your heal again, you're going to get some protection and healing. So 25% HP, you actually become quite strong. But you do get Elixir S as well. So when you come out of Elixir S or just before, I can't remember which order it is actually, you're going to have that heal as well. So you're going to get protection no matter what. So it's really, really nice. And obviously you've got protection coming in from Recovery Matrix, and you've got protection coming in as well from Protection Injection. So you've got a lot of protection potentially for yourself in this build. Again, one of the reasons why you can run Marauder, because you don't need to run Celestial. Celestial was run early on, I think in NA, very early in the Heart of Thorns X-Pack when that came out. And I was always thinking, why do we need so much? Why do we need Celestial when we've got so much protection and we've got so much, and we've actually got more condition removal than normal? We're pretty tanky as it is, and there's another couple of reasons why that, while I'll talk about that in a moment. So let's talk about the next trait. The minor here, Decisive Renown. So when you successfully revive an ally or finish an enemy, you grant balloons to nearby allies. This isn't just to them, it's to yourself as well. So the might's obviously nice. Super speed as well. And we'll talk about why that's so good as well in a moment, because it is. Let's have a look why. Because rapid regeneration is amazing. Rapidly regenerate health while affected by swiftness or super speed. We're getting swiftness quite a lot through this build. Obviously, we're getting it through Elixir B. We get it through Elixir B again through Hidden Flask there. We're going to get swiftness as well as super speed, because we've got super speed coming out from the tool belt skill here, which combines with Slick Shoes. Slick Shoes is also a very, very, one of the strongest utilities probably in the game, no doubt. It is very, very awesome. We'll talk about why that is in a moment. And also, you know, the reason why this is so good is because of the heal that you get from it. So, you know, you get 105 from swiftness coming out, and you also get 470. So when you've downed an opponent and you've had a really hard fight, and also, you know, you're in a team fight, you're going to be able to get super speed, so you can get out of there quite quickly, or you can, you know, it sustains yourself in that heal. That's 470 per second. That's quite a lot, you know, while you've got it. So it's always while you've actually got super speed up. So, you know, I've got super speed now, I'm healing for 4 or 5 seconds and whatnot. And, sorry, 5 seconds there. So that's, what, how much is that, guys? 5 seconds times 470, you can do the maths as well. So it's just under 2.5k. So that's pretty good, you know, 2.5k healing just for using super speed. And then we've got, you know, swiftness as well. So we use Elixir B, for example. Really, really good. This is, I'm loving how, you know, it's for how long we have swiftness for. So how long have we got swiftness for there? 16 3/4 seconds. Jesus, 16 3/4 seconds. So that's, you know, quite a lot of healing. It's under 2k, but, you know, it's nothing to be shy about. It keeps you sustained, you know. Remember backpack regenerator here, you know, 117 healing while you're using a kit. It's exactly the same. It's 12 healing less while you've got swiftness, and you're going to get swiftness quite a lot. Remember conditions coming into you, changing to boons. You're going to get, obviously, elixir B and whatnot. You've got loads of ways of getting swiftness from other members in your team as well. It's really, really good. It's very good. It's very strong as well. But then, okay, sorry, I'll stop getting keen about this. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway. Sorry, just using stability there. Impact Savant, so the duration of your outgoing stuns and dazes are increased, and the duration of stuns and dazes applied to you are decreased. So again, kind of reduction again, very good for the survivability of yourself. Obviously, your hammer skills coming out, extra stun. You can see the blue coming out there for 1.25 seconds is the extension of that. So again, extra reduction in duration as well as outgoing duration for stun from yourself. And then we've got finally the last trait here: gain stacking toughness when struck, reduce incoming condition damage. And that was decreased actually. We used to be, adaptive armor used to be 100 toughness, I think, as I remember, but they reduced it to 60 because it was quite heavy. It was quite, basically I think it was like Engineer's main weakness was conditions, and when this was 100 toughness per stack, it was like, okay, yeah, we're fine now. We didn't have to worry about conditions hardly at all as much as we used to. Obviously, still, toughness as much as we used to in terms of, surviving extra damage and whatnot, and that combined with the 20% reduction in condition damage was quite strong as well. So they reduced that, which was right to do. Maximum stacks of that is 5, of course. So, you've got condition reduction, we've got protection, we've got healing, we've got lots of sustain there, we've got reduction in movement effects as well, we've got an extra heal at 25% health. We've got a med kit to help us sustain, as well as condition removal through our elixirs, might stacking, toughness, protection again, something else to help us out when we want to down something or revive something. This build has a lot of utility to it. It's truly an engineer build, When you think of an engineer, you think of jack of all trades, master of none almost. And this is really what it's about. I mean, look, I've got the hammer, I've got a turret, I've got an elixir gun, I've got a gadget, I've got a flipping elixir pot as well. I've got a mix of everything, even a gyro. Actually, I don't think this build has got maybe the most stuff, the most mix of different things that I've ever had. It's got, kit, gadget, elixir, gyro, turret. Amazing. That's why it's so fun as well, because I've not got bored. This is actually probably the most fun engineer build in the meta I've ever played. A lot of people talk about Celestial Rifle with flipping kits, and it got so boring after a while. This is a lot more fun. I wish I could replace the elixir gun with grenades maybe and use explosives line, but this is just too strong the way it is, and you can run it in a different way, but that's another build I'll talk about another day. And this is what the meta is being played like at the moment. Again, sigils, interchangeable. I use energy because I want more dodge. You could use blood or leeching or whatever. You could even use fire, I guess, if you wanted to, but this is really your preference, how you're playing as well in the games and how you're feeling. Rune, you can change that again, but I feel like this is really useful for me. So 25% chance when struck to grant nearby's protection and regeneration for 3 seconds, and resistance. Resistance is very important because I don't want to get done by condition so much, okay? And this is condition meta. This is why durability is another reason why durability is so strong at the moment, and why a lot of people are using it, I suppose. Toughness, extra resistance, regeneration, protection. It's sustained for yourself and your allies. So if you've got 4 out of 5 people running it, you're going to have a lot of sustain. This is another reason why the meta is so bunkery at the moment as well. Not the main reason, but one of the reasons. But yeah, I mean, this is the build pretty much, and we can talk about these skills very quickly. You've seen the hammer. I've talked about the hammer many, many times. You've got a nice evade with rocket charge, as well as, evading to attack your target or to leave and try and get out of a fight. You've got a nice block, very nice block from shock shield, which helps against everything. One of the big things I've found with this, where this is useful is actually against dragon hunters in PvP as well, when you're going in leagues and not necessarily the high end, like pro leagueness as well, because I don't really see dragon hunters on EU. It's very useful against a lot of burst damage, as well as obviously the vulnerability stacking. It's good against any class that you're trying to block, basically, as well. Any stuns or anything like that that's coming in. Thunderclap is just beautiful, because obviously if you've got Thunderclap up and you're low on health yourself, remember this is a lightning field, so if you blast it, you're going to be able to get yourself a nice amount of swiftness as well. So don't forget that that's very, very important. We've got the blast obviously there, and we've got the blast and the healing turret and whatnot as well. So, that's a thing. Obviously you get retaliation there as well through that combination, which is very, very nice. Sorry, not through that from combination, but obviously from the 5th skill. And then we're using the leap back, which is of course acid bomb. So super elixir, then acid bomb is a nice combo to get yourself some nice retaliation, which I actually use quite a lot in certain situations. Don't forget that also you have swiftness on the glob shot, so if you don't have access to swiftness at the time, and you could do with a little bit of extra sustain and you feel like the fight's going on quite a long time, it's not going to end anytime soon, pop your second shot off, you're going to grab some swiftness. How long is that swiftness actually? 4¼ seconds. There you go. So that's not too bad. About 400 or so healing, which is nothing to be sniffed about. And you can refresh that as and when you need, of course, because the cooldown's 8 seconds, so it's not too bad. But you'll probably have some other swiftness by then. Elixir gun also giving you the nice weakness. A little bit of bleeding. Bleeding isn't that heavy on this, of course, but you are able to, stack it up considerably as you go. And you can see the amount of damages coming out. It's not too bad. Because you lack range, a lot of the time, especially if you haven't got that charge from the hammer, might have a little bit of a problem trying to gap close, because they've been able to evade and just completely leave a fight. So, Elixir Guard, the amount of people are finished off because they've got weakness on them, and then I hit them again and we do some more damage with that, is really, that's happened quite a lot actually, just like anyone who's trying to get away pretty much. And so that's always pretty good. You've got poison actually coming out through this as well, with that 5 stacks and the vulnerability as well, which is always good. And then it removes conditions. So if you're in a massive team fight and you see your team's got a lot of conditions, and you need to just put some poison pressure down as well to make sure they're not able to get an easy res or regenerate themselves and their team so much, stick a bit of poison into the mix, and that's always quite nice as well. Obviously stacking might through acid bomb and also from super elixir, as well as removing some conditions, giving a little bit of healing as well. The impact heal being 700, and then the pulsing of that is 204. So again, sustain is the aim of the game. 13 pulses though. That's really nice. Again, that's quite a lot of healing. So 13, wow, okay, so that's just under 2.5k healing as well from that. 700, that's 3,200 just for your selfish. But yeah, good times. This build is nice. There's too much stuff. Combo field light, like I said before. We've got some retaliation coming out there. Oh yeah. And then we've got slick shoes. Oh, I love you, slick shoes. So much. And because we've got hammer now as well, slick shoes is really, really good CC. So the oil stick duration is 3 seconds, knocked down for 2. They can get back up and walk straight back into it. So, you see a lot of people slick shoesing, they slick shoes around the body. There's a reason for that, because they keep getting knocked down. And when they get back up, they have to stand still otherwise, or try and get through it. With stability and whatnot, otherwise they're going to be put down for a little bit of time. So this is why it's so strong, especially when you're trying to finish someone off, you're trying to get all your bursts up together, and that there's no one around with stability or anything. You're going to be able to get a lot of damage off potentially. Some nice combos, slick shoes, thunderclap, and then obviously when you're putting slick shoes on them as well, you can still do abilities, so make sure you're still attacking while that's happening, even if you're using 1 on the hammer, for God's sake. I'm actually guilty of myself. I'm not doing that sometimes. I'm just focusing on the slick shoes, looking at it, thinking, oh my god, this is amazing. Look at the circles I can make. And I forget I can do damage halfway through, of course, it's obviously very nice. So let's have a look. Electro Whirl as well, very, very strong ability. Reflecting projectiles, combo finisher whirl, but it does a ton of damage as well, obviously. That is your main damage through that weapon, to be honest. Still stacking vulnerability and might from the first skill on the hammer when you're swinging it. We explained really all about the hammer, to be honest, and obviously Elixir B, we know what that's about. But yeah, and we've got the nice toolkit ability here from the detection pulse. So this is good if you're going up. Obviously, you know, if there's another engineer on the opposite team and you see them using a sneak gyro as well. Sneak gyro doesn't often follow the same paths as you will. So, for example, look, I'm running up here. Sneak gyro will not come up here. It will go to the level below because it's not got the path there to get to me, unfortunately. So there, you can trick people by actually, you know, it will come back now because I've gone to the path you can go to. But if you, say for example, you're running up the stairs in Forest and Niflhel, and you know you're not going to be able to get in the fight, your gyro is a big tell for where you're moving. Obviously, the radius is still quite big. You can move to the end of it, obviously, as well. But if you jump over the stairs, your gyro has to go the long way to come back to you, so you can actually get out of situations, make them think that potentially you're going down the stairs. Obviously people are aware of this and that's not always going to happen, but yeah, I might do a video just about the sneak gyro and that kind of tactic of using it, I suppose. But sneak gyro, obviously, it's a bit like a shadow refuge as well. You can think of it like that from the thief back in the day, where you would use that to, you know, get a res, get a secured down on the target as well, you know, because no one's able to focus target you or CC you because you're in stealth, unless it's AoE, of course, like a fear from a necro or whatnot, or the freeze shout coming out from the necro, or any control effect like gravity well maybe from a mesmer. You're still going to be controlled, but you're going to be in stealth unless you attack. So, you know, there's lots of things to consider, and this reveal, which is what I'm talking about as well, which is actually the thing I was talking about to begin with, is really good in those kind of situations. Obviously, if you've got a thief that's still using stealth, or anyone else that's trying to stealth across the map, because sometimes you don't know, the beginning of a game, for example, if you see an engineer and you've not got eyes on anyone else yet on the map, they could be just an engineer in here, for example, or they could be, you know, 4 players. You don't know until you've actually got some reveals around the map for the rest of your team. So, you know, using that is really, really good to reveal and get eyes on the opposite team. So, ta-da! This is actually quite good as well, that nice little 1 1/4 second days when you actually overcharge it as well. So, order it to self-destruct. But yeah, lots of stuff coming out for this build, and you still see I've got a nice amount of stealth there as well. So we've got mobility, we've got survivability, we've got damage, we've got stun, we've got control effects, we've got stability, which I didn't even talk about, coming out from the Toss Elixir B. That's a 20-second cooldown, which really helps with all the control effects that are coming out. There's so much CC spam at the moment in PvP, it's unbelievable, and this really helps you. You know, free stacks as well for 6 3/4 seconds. You know, we've got extended boon duration coming out all over the shop in this build, another reason for durability, another reason for the build as a whole. I really like this build. If you're an engineer and you're not playing this build at the moment, learn it, because it is a very, very strong build as well. Make sure you're playing it, getting used to it. I would literally say that this is one of the most fun builds I've played as well, I'm not going to lie. It's just got everything. I love it. You will love it too, I promise. So, until this is not the meta anymore, and that could change, and if it does change still, you know, it's useful to know about all these different things and different traits and how well this synergizes as well with itself. Enjoy it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I've been Jebro. This has been The Engineer. I will see you very soon.